morning and welcome to IIJ's virtual second edition powered by GIA. And today we have a very special guest with us, Mr. Colin Shah, Chairman of GJPC. Welcome, Colin. Happy New Year to you and to your family.
Thanks, Amit.
We are in the first week of January and 2020, contrary to expectations, Indian gem and jewelry industry did fabulously well. In March, April, it was almost doomsday predictions, but it has come. We have come out unscathed from this entire pandemic, and there are a lot which the Indian government did with your collaboration, engagement with GJPC, and your meetings with them personally. Can you please elaborate for our viewers on what all the government did to help our industry in 2020?
Amit, thanks for this opportunity, and good morning and Happy New Year to all our viewers. I would say the government in India has been extremely proactive. If you look at it, the pandemic hit 20th March, more or less last year, and up to April, we were in complete lockdown, the entire country, which now when you look back retrospectively, everyone said it was too severe and compared to other countries. But if you look at our mortality rate and the way our economy has recovered, we've done better than most economies in the West. So kudos to the Prime Minister and his entire cabinet, and I guess all the senior bureaucrats who really took extremely proactive steps in getting the country back on its feet. Having said that, they were also extremely, I would say, approachable, and on the contrary, I would say they were even a little anxiously wanting to know what is it that they could do to help our industry. And we did several video conferences. We even met them personally in Delhi, and I guess there was an interaction even with the most senior ministers, whether it's the commerce or finance minister, practically every month on industry-specific issues. And the question was also, what else can we do to get the industry back on feet? So it's been a nice journey, I would say, at least in seeing very at close quarters the proactiveness of the Indian government. So just to give a few highlights of what they did, one is they gave extensions on all the loans which were coming due in April, May. So whether it's import payments, export payments, whether it's gold loan, anything, the interest moratorium that they did. So I guess, and that was for all industries, but it helped our industry too. And, they were interacting with only a few 10, 15 industries on what is it that they could do. So the moratoriums really helped, I guess, everyone in even our industry. That was one. Second, I guess a brilliant step, and this will be a huge booster for exports, especially the MSMEs, is that all exports are now in the MSME definition and can avail of the 5% interest subvention. So today interest rates in India are say between 7.5 to 8.5, 9%, depending on the rating of the company. And you get a 5% subvention, which makes us immediately competitive with most of our neighbors. So today our real interest rate in India for exporters is 2, 3, 4%. So that makes us extremely competitive, and that has really helped, I would say, the entire sector. And kudos to again the government and the MSME minister who was very proactive in doing this. So we've been closely interacting with Gadkari ji, the finance minister and the commerce minister, and they've all done several steps to help industry. The finance minister also been extremely, I guess, proactive with the moratorium, the reclassification of our loans, the reclassification that they've done, the support for stressed accounts. So, in the original Kamath committee report, our sector was not mentioned, but after a lot of interaction, our sector did get included. And that's really going to help because, say, everybody who had a loan outstanding on 20th March, 20% of that will be given with a government-backed guarantee for a 5-year period. So this would really help everyone who had, I guess, loss on account of gold loan repayments, whether it's inventory devaluation. So this is a huge booster actually, and it's government-backed guarantee. So every bank is also happily giving this. So I think all in all these steps have really helped. And if you look at our November, December numbers, whether it's export or domestic, in terms of value, they are all back to pre-COVID levels with a little bit of growth. So, and if the momentum continues through Jan, Feb, March, then the industry will end very nicely this year, which everyone had assumed would be a washout year. I would say obviously the industry also worked extremely hard
Yeah.
And if you see whether it's diamond manufacturers, jewelry manufacturers, retailers, everyone's I guess reinvented their business model
Yeah.
in in the COVID period. But they've come back nicely and strongly. And ours was one of the few industries which everyone thought luxury sector will be last ones to recover. Maybe it's long recovery. It'll take 2 years, but we've all come back very nicely in quarter 3 of the
Yes.
year. So,
Yes.
so I think kudos to industry, government, everyone.
Entire thing of this government giving this 20% loan, which is to the people who have the current loans. So which means there are, if they somebody had 100 crore loan, they will get 20 crores more. And what is the interest rate on that?
Interest rate is going to be between 7.5 to 8.5, depending on the rating of the company. So it's extremely competitive, I would say, and you have a 1 year moratorium and 5 year repayment. I guess this will be exactly what the doctor ordered. Basically, it's like I would say a booster in your loan book, which can help people come back and not take very drastic decisions in this COVID time.
Thank you very much, Colin, because I know and we have known in the council that you have really persuaded the government, spoken to them continuously, and it has been a massive effort in 2020. And even the government has been extremely proactive, with you and GJPC representing the entire industry. Thank you very much, and we thank the Indian government, Prime Minister Modi, and all the three ministries for really helping our industry so much. So moving on, Colin, 2021 has just started. So what are your expectations from 2021, which you'd like to share with the industry regarding all the shows, IIGS virtual, when is the physical show coming up, and the budget, which is in a couple of months' time now?
Having ended the year on a positive note compared to where we thought we'll be in April, May, June, I would just say that further to our original vision, when we started this new term at council, our entire and this was a vision document made before the pandemic. So what and I still believe in the same, that what we are going to continue to strive at very aggressively is ease of doing business. So we've been fortunate that over the last 5 decades, the Indian gems and jewelry sector has actually become global leaders. We are global leaders in diamonds, gemstones, jewelry. We are either one or two ranked in practically everything, every sector in our industry. The Indian retail also, we are the third largest market in the world. So having said that, what our industry needs is ease of doing business. And when you look at that, that's what we are working very closely with the government, is to how we can continue this journey on making GST returns easy, making income taxation easy, making our custom documentation easy, making our banking lines and paperwork and rating part easier. And further to that, making the life cycle of everything that our industry is doing, I guess, easier. We've started this whole journey of digitalization. And we've made, I would say, even council very digital. We're totally live in SAP HANA. All our offices, institutes, everything is now under one software. If you see our website, we've totally revamped it. We used to have 13 websites. They've all been brought into one mother website. So if a member wants to see, I think everything in his manufacturing journey or retail journey, it's all available on the council website, whether it's the forms you need to fill in, whether it's the government notifications, industry news, updates, shows. And coming to that is that this whole virtual format of buyer seller meets and IIJS and exhibitions. So if you recollect, we started the journey only last year. We didn't have anything virtual, and I guess the entire IIJS team worked tirelessly, I would say, for that whole quarter to get the first edition of the IIJS virtual up and running. There were a lot of learnings, and now we have this second edition coming up. Extremely excited. I guess the first edition was a huge learning for all of us. And what has happened now is, whether it's the manufacturer or the retailer, everyone has adapted to, I guess, the new way of doing business. So I guess every retailer who comes this time will see that the image quality is better, the feature benefits, whether it's the speed, everyone's realized that the kind of cameras they need, the internet bandwidth which is required. Just in terms of user interface, we've tried to make it very easy, very simple. There's a WhatsApp chat call, there's a video call facility, there's magnification of jewelry. So we've taken inputs from the last show on what all was missing and have added practically everything. We had a checklist and we've made sure everything is in the second edition. So extremely excited. I think it's going to be a splendid show and it'll be a great journey for both manufacturers and retailers. So it's definitely the new normal. We'll be doing more of these on the international front, on the domestic front, and it'll only keep on getting bigger and better.
Thank you, Colin. Yes, surely, people are really looking forward to IIGS Virtual, and all these new features are going to help, especially the digital diary, improvement in this, how you see the jewelry, and a lot of other things. Even the look and feel is so much more better. The budget is coming up, Colin, now in just a month or a couple of months' time. So, and you have recommended a lot of new things for our industry. What are you hopeful for from the government for this budget?
What I guess has been assured to us that it's going to be a dream budget for the country. Having said that, gems and jewelry is an important part of this nation building exercise because of the huge job creation that we do and the value addition in terms of foreign exchange. Our sincere hope is that when there was a CAD deficit and the gold and diamond duty were increased from 0 and 2.5% levels to 5, 10 and 12.5 on gold plus 3% GST and diamonds to 7.5, there is some amount of rollback. So what we've requested for is a gold duty of 4% and diamond back to 2.5 and even gemstones back to 2.5 and no import duty on rough gemstones. So we're really hoping, and we've made a sincere case out of this, that one is there is no CAD deficit, and second is that due to the high duties, it's leading to a lot of gold coming through unofficial channels. So this is not helping the organized trade for sure. And secondly, there is also a loss of business and jobs happening to our neighboring countries, where even our NRIs who love, I guess, the Indian kind of jewelry would rather buy in Dubai and Hong Kong or even US than to buy in India, even though they come to India often enough. So this is not good for our country, and we sincerely have requested the Finance Ministry and member budget for looking into this, and we are hoping that there is some amount of rollback which will help the industry to go on this organized path. Besides that, we've asked for a turnover tax on rough diamonds, which is sold through the special notified zone. So that's something which we are anxiously waiting for. And there is a new SEZ policy on the anvil too, and that will really help. So SEZ policy, like we know, is 20 years old, and after that there have only been notifications and corrections, but there's never been a reboot which has made us, or which keep us on the same competitive level playing field with a Chinese or Thai manufacturer. And we are hoping that this new SEZ policy, which will come in April, will take us on this journey of making the leap forward and making our manufacturers world class and ensuring that they're sustainable for the next 10-20 years. Besides that, what we've really been working hard for, and we think it's just what the doctor ordered for our entire MSME and I guess retailers, manufacturers all over the country, is a robust e-com policy, because that opens up our market to the whole world. Anybody who has a website with some amount of digital marketing can sell to any consumer in the world. It's just that it wasn't possible all this while because we don't have the ability like you do in, say, China or Europe, of just shipping through a courier from your doorstep. And that's what the world today has become. So we've had several interactions with DIPP, several departments in the government, and we're really hoping that in the next few months we'll have a robust e-com policy, which will really help boost our trade. So several expectations like always, and we are hoping that most of them get done.
And I'm sure the government is looking with a keen and a very close eye to our industry. Colin, in this pandemic, what we heard from Dubai, which is a hub for global jewelry, is that India really did very well and challenged the, even in the space of gold jewelry and other studded jewelry against China, Indonesia, Malaysia. these countries, where Indian manufacturers and designers really supported the entire Middle East, North Africa region, and supported them not only with jewelry but also terms. And India is really coming up very, very strongly now as a number one player, even in that side of the business. So, what are your expectations from exports business in terms of some numbers on growth for 2021?
What we expect is that if we go back to our pre-COVID level with a single-digit growth, I guess the industry will be happy. So that's our expectation in terms of numbers. Now, what it means is, if we are back to our 30-35 billion dollar mark, then I guess the whole industry will be very satisfied, because that technically would be a huge bounce back from where we went in 2020. And if you remember, 2019 was a degrowth year also because of economic recession. So there are a lot of global events happening next year. A lot will depend on the new American president and how things pan out in the American economy. There are a lot of things happening even in China. I think on how post-pandemic now the world looks at China. So, and US and China account for nearly 55-60% of the gems and jewelry business globally. So those two markets will determine, I guess, in the next quarter how the whole remaining year pans out. So, having said that, I don't think anybody wants strife. And if you look at stock market side as an indicator, globally they've gone up because everyone feels that 21 will be a year of optimism and positivity and things settling down, especially on all the trade wars and I guess the uncertainties that we had in 2019 and 20. So it should be good for our industry.
India crossed the 2.5 trillion mark. If you look at the stock market, that was a big day for 2021 to start on a very, very high note. Couple of projects which are ongoing and which are very exciting for the industry, Colin, is the Jewelry Shopping Festival and the Gem and Jewelry Park just on the outskirts of Mumbai. What is the status on both these projects, and will we see it both coming or starting or happening this year?
So the Jewelry Shopping Festival, as per my I guess estimate today and the way we are planning it, will definitely happen this year. So we are trying to make sure that it definitely happens. It's a first for council to execute an event of this scale and magnitude countrywide. So we have to look into state level laws, city-wise permissions, high streets, government support. So there's a lot of I guess uncertainties. So we will be definitely doing it, but the timing is something which we are still discussing, whether to do it before Akshaya Tritiya or to do it before Dhanteras this year. So in answer to your question, definitely happening. Timing, we want to make sure that it's a successful large event. So that's what we are contemplating right now. On the second question, which is about the jewelry park, our MOU with MIDC is signed and sealed. We've paid our first installment also. So the project is definitely happening. It got delayed in, I guess, legalities because of the pandemic. So it took us, we lost 8-9 months in legal matters, but it's finally settled, sealed. We have the land. We're working on, I guess, the plan now, and we've appointed ENY to do the entire project study and plan and FSI and everything, and they're closely working with MIDC. Hopefully, we should settle, I guess, everything by March, April, and we'll be ready to roll out the project by April this year. So it looks very excited about it. It's going to be a massive, massive project. And, I guess further to say, since all of us are Mumbaikars, and many years back, the diamond industry used to be in Mumbai, but Surat happened and the trade moved to Surat. This jewelry park will ensure that at least the jewelry part stays in Mumbai. So it will be a large, I guess, project and consolidated. And I guess in 2-3 years, once the project is over, the entire hub will become Mumbai for manufacturing and I guess for sourcing and everything under one roof. So very excited. It's a super prime property right next to the new international airport. So excited.
Great. Thank you, Colin. That was fabulous. Your leadership has really guided us in this pandemic, and brought us to a level now where 2021 looks much better than 2020, what we had the year, and a lot of new projects coming up. So all the best to you and to your team, and the entire industry is with you, and we look forward to a next not only 2021 but the next 5 years to be a fantastic growth year for the industry. Thank you.
Thanks, Amit. Thank you.